out the win. All playoff wins are tough. Obviously, Montana, a really well coached football team, and I felt like we came out and executed really well. To go into the fourth up 28-3, I think that was kind of a huge momentum for us. We had one defensive series in the third quarter after scoring going into half, so I think that played a huge part in it, and was excited about the way we played in many ways. Just would like to execute in the second quarter a little bit to finish the drive when we get into the red zone area and not stall out. But other than that, excited for another week to be with the guys and coach them for what is the quarterfinals, and we'll have another tough one in Carnarvon.
Jimmy, you've answered a lot of questions this year about Mark Gronowski, but playoff game today, he came out and looked like vintage Mark Gronowski, the guy you've been talking about all year.
Yeah, I've never had the issue with Mark. I think it just takes time to work with a different set of people, and that's what he's done. And he was really sharp today and made a ton of huge plays and threw the ball really accurately. And our offensive line gave him time to throw, and obviously those wide receivers came down with the ball. So I'm excited about how he's progressed with the group of players that he's been working with, and got a couple more to go one at a time.
Coach, you speak to the response there after the fumble on the offense's first possession to come back out for the offense and put together that 57-yard drive.
Yeah, I think that was huge. Obviously, it's not the way we want to start the game going. Defensively, we go 3 and out, and then offensively they come out and we fumble the ball, and the defense turns around and we get a stop to hold them to 3 points. So that's a win in our book. But the offense didn't hang their head. We got a good return on the kickoff return. Then we were able to score to go up 7-3, and we felt like if we could just get into rhythm, we'd win the football game, and we were able to. But yeah, our guys don't hang their head. They just kind of play in the present. It's something that we constantly preach and teach, and tonight was another example of it.
Players mentioned maybe having a chip on their shoulder because of the seeding and stuff like that. Do you feel like they had a certain edge about them today?
Hopefully they have an edge about what is to come. Any more of an edge? No. We've talked at length. We're kind of over where we're seated, and we're going to control our destiny from this point on. So that's kind of what I'm focused on. I'm not really caught up in anything about where we play. We'll be excited for the opportunity when it presents itself. So that's kind of where our focus will go.
You talked to the players about it. Were you surprised that they didn't play both quarterbacks?
A little bit. The quarterback that played, though, doesn't shock me that they played him. He's a great athlete. And I think they were 27 of 27 rushing the football when the ball was actually handed off. Most of the rushing yards came off of scramble, and he created that just because he's a great player. I think we need to do a better job of finishing at the quarterback and turning those big plays into sacks, but another week to improve and focus on those details because it will matter in the upcoming week.
Did you put extra work or extra strategy into trying to contain the return game? Because you did contain the return game.
Yeah, our plan was just to kick away from them. Obviously, they adjusted there. In the one play that he did touch the ball, he got hurt. So the plan worked. I was proud of that. We were able to execute in these special teams. We punt 3 times in the game, and I felt like we did a good job. Yeah.
I like the way your team responded after the mistake with the handoff early in the fumble, and early in the year, obviously, sometimes that would happen and maybe it lingered. And today they just kind of showed the growth. I mean, it was like nothing happened after that fumble.
Yeah, I mean, I think you mature the more reps that you take. This isn't last year's team. We don't have a bunch of 3 to 4 year seniors everywhere, or 3 to 4 year starters everywhere. But it comes with experience. It comes with overcoming adversity throughout the season, and which we've done, and really confident in this group and what we can accomplish moving forward.
How much value does it give you to have guys like Adam Bach and Mark Gronowski who have been through the playoff grind and are running through it one more time?
Yeah, I think it's huge on how to handle the breaks. When you have the first round bye, and kind of how to manage your body and stay in shape. And although we give the guys really off from Wednesday mid-noon to Sunday night when they get back and lift on their own, I think that part is huge, just making sure that they're sweating some and getting ready for what is to come, because there's no more breaks at this point. And the focus that it takes week in and week out, knowing that you're playing what could be your last game, I think that comes with a little bit of anxiety as a player, especially as a senior. And the fact that we have several, especially at those key positions like you're talking about, that have gone through that, they know that what goes into the preparation, and they know how to handle the emotions of the game, and showed up today with how Mark played, showed up today with how Adam played. Those are huge key players in our success and really the rise of South Dakota State and us being able to win multiple championships. We're going to miss those guys, but we get another week with them, and we're going to fight for one more week after this.
What'd you think of your defensive line today?
Felt like they were able to create pressure, and they got to finish some sacks. I felt like we left some out there. As far as them in the run game, I thought they were great. Overall in the run game, I thought we were great. They didn't really get much going, and we made them one-dimensional, and we were able to get some plays off of it.
What do you remember thinking, and what was your reaction when the trick play was called to throw back to Mark?
Touchdown.
You mentioned off the
I
top.
wish he threw the ball better. Honestly, I was like, that was the worst throw in America.
You mentioned off the top that how difficult the playoffs are, and you drill it into the guys that you have to treat every week like it's your last, but you know, these are kids. You never know what they're going to think going into it, and you look around the rest of the FCS as we speak, there are a lot of games with high seeds. I think just about you and Montana State were the only ones that didn't really get tested. To see your guys respond this way, to come out with the attitude that you preach, how much does that mean going forward, knowing that they've taken everything you guys are saying to heart, especially when you look around the rest of the FCS and see just how close these games are?
Yeah, the players probably didn't get the opportunity to look at any of those scores, obviously, yet, but I said it in 22, I thought the toughest game that we had played was Holy Cross. I thought in 23, the toughest game that we played was Villanova, just the whole situation. So you never know when you're playing your national championship game, and if you take one game for granted, you miss the opportunity to potentially get there. And this group, you know, you mentioned Adam and Mark, they've lived through that. So does that help? Surely. It helps to understand that every game matters and that you can't take any opponent for granted. We have a tough slate. You know, if you look at the brackets, our games that we got are no gimmies. Maybe that will help us not lose sight of that. So we got another tough one next week. We need to reset ourselves and focus on what's important, and that will be Incarnate Word moving forward.
We got time for maybe one or two more.
What do you, round two with Incarnate Word, having seen them such a long time ago, obviously both teams have changed a lot since then, but anything that you want to do differently this time?
Well, we got to defend the pass game better, obviously. They did a really good job. I felt like we defended the run in that game really well, if I remember correct. Obviously, we got to watch that film. I haven't went back and watched Incarnate Word at all, just because anything can happen in the playoffs, but they got great players. We felt like finishing that game, they had great skill. We felt like going into that game, they had great skill and great wide receivers and a dynamic quarterback that can put the ball in place and on time. And I doubt anything has changed in that sense for them to have this type of success. So we'll watch the film and we'll get ready for Incarnate Word tomorrow, but right now we're just going to enjoy tonight and we'll reset in the morning.
Anything else?
I have one last question.
Okay.
With the seniors, we'd asked Bach and Mark about it. It's a bit of a different feel with it. It could be their last time playing. Do you specifically address that with those guys at all?
I mean, every week it could be your last game. I think last year's confidence, I don't know if the group felt that it would ever be the last game. And hopefully this group is growing in that sense, but don't take it for granted for the moments that they get with one another, because when you finish college athletics, it means something to believe as a champion, but also 5 years from now, you will remember the locker room and the laughter and the joy that you had 1 week at a time with guys, and those are the things that you'll miss more than you'll ever, remember about being a stat leader in any form or all conference or all American player. So my focus is on trying to give our best as a coaching staff to our players and make sure that they're well equipped, that they can lead on that stage in Frisco, Texas. But that doesn't happen without beating Incarnate Word and keeping our focus there.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, guys.
Good luck next week.